In this lesson, I will show you the save and save as features and explain the differences between these two. First of all, saving is a very important process because through this you make the data permanent on the hard drive or on any other permanent storage device you use. If for some reason the computer shuts down while you are working, either due to a power outage or an error, you will lose your work in your workbook or in any other application you were working on. In order not to lose it, you should save your work so that it remains stored in some permanent storage device. Usually, that storage device is your hard drive, but it can be other things as well. There are three ways to save a file. First, you can save a file by opening the File tab and clicking the Save option. The Save As option is something different that I will explain later in this lesson. I will press Escape on the keyboard to get out of here and show you another way to save your files, which is by clicking the Save button, which can be found on the Quick Access toolbar. Finally, you can save your files by pressing the Ctrl S key combination on your keyboard. A quick way to remember the shortcut is to think that the word save starts with an S, and that's why the Ctrl S was chosen as the combination. If you must remember just one key combination, the Ctrl and S key combination is what you need. Saving is a process that you need to do very often to save the progress of your work. By very often, I mean very often, sometimes even every minute. So using the key combination makes it easy to save your work. So here I have started a new workbook in which I have written two things, and I want to save them in my hard drive. I will click on the File tab and press Save. Notice that the Save As option was automatically activated, although I clicked on the Save option. Let me explain why this happened in a short while and not now. As you can see here on the right part of the screen, I have the option to choose where I want to save this specific workbook. Among the options here is also the possibility to save it to OneDrive, which means to save it to the cloud. The word cloud refers to a storage device that is not located in your computer locally, but in another location. The file is saved through the internet. But I don't want to dive into that because it will take the focus away from the main subject of this lesson, which is the save process. You will mostly save your files on your local computer, but the process is similar even if you need to save it to the cloud using OneDrive or some other corresponding service like, for example, Google Drive. As you can see, there is also a list of the most recently used folders, and you can use any of them directly. What I usually do is go to the other locations area and press the Browse button. This window gives me all the options, and I can choose the folder in which I want to save my file and the name under which I will save it. I will press the first arrow from the left in the address bar and select Desktop as I showed you in the previous lesson. I could choose this computer if I wanted to save to a folder in the root of the local disk C or some other folder, but for now I wanted the desktop as the save folder, that's why I chose the desktop. Now I will click on the file name field to give my file the name under which it will be saved. Let's say I want to name it logbook, so I will type logbook here. I don't need to type the .xlsx extension because it will be added automatically. It's not wrong if I do it, but there is no reason when I just want to save my workbook as an Excel workbook file. I will show you in the next lesson how you can save your workbook as a different type of file and what are the differences to that. There the extension will be different, but even then you don't need to type it, you will just select it, but let's not go there now. To complete saving my file, I will click on the Save button, and as you can see, the title has now changed to the name I chose. So now the workbook is called logbook.xlsx. I will now minimize the window, and as you can see, the file has been created on my desktop. Of course, if I had chosen another location to save it, it would have been created there. I will now add some more data in the workbook. From the taskbar, I will click on the Excel icon to bring up the workbook. I will type in cell A2 the value 1800. I will press the right arrow on my keyboard to move to cell B2, and here I will type the value 1700. I will talk about entering data in more detail in a future lesson, so don't wonder how I'm doing this. Now, compared to the saved file, here I have done some extra work by putting two more values in two cells. This work has not been saved yet. That means that what is currently saved in the file is only the income 2024 value in cell A1 and the expenses 2024 value in cell B1. The values in cell A2 and B2 have not been saved yet. So if anything happens, like the power goes out or whatever, I will lose those values and I would need to remember them and type them again the next time I open the file. What should I do to prevent this from happening? Save the file again. That is why there is a save button here on the quick access toolbar with which I can save my file with just one click. That's why you need to remember the Ctrl S combination on the keyboard. So I will click the save button on the quick access toolbar and the file is now updated with the changes I made. As I go on and work with my workbook, I have to keep saving and updating the file with the changes I make. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, I might lose all the data since my last save. Remember that the easiest and fastest way is the Ctrl S combination, which is good to keep in mind and use constantly to save your work. Also notice that when I pressed the save button, it didn't ask me again in what folder I want to save the file or what name I want to save it under. I will now open the File tab and select the Save. As you can see, it doesn't ask me anything here either. When I do a simple save, it means that I want to save the file in the location that it already is. The first time I save a new workbook, Excel will ask me all these questions about the folder and the file name because it doesn't know where I want to save it. From there on, the saves are all done as an update of the existing file and not as a creation of a new one. Now is the time to see what the Save As option does. Here, there are many cases where you want to save an existing already saved workbook in a different folder or with a different file name. That means that you want to create a copy of your current workbook in another location and or a different name while keeping the file that you have open intact. Look what I'm going to do. I will click on the File tab and I will click Open to open a workbook I have created for this purpose. I will click on the Browse button and as you can see the window opens showing the desktop. This is because the last folder I saved my file to was on the desktop. Generally speaking, when I save or open a file from a folder, the next time I go to save or open a file, the folder that appears is the last one I used. In fact, if you had noticed the very first time I opened the Browse window, it took me straight to the Documents folder. This is a setting in the application options that I will show you in the following lesson. To continue, I will click on the arrow in the address bar and I will select the computer. I will double click on the local disk C. I will double click on the price lists folder that I have created and then I will double click on the price list 2024 file to open it. Let's see now a practical example of what Save As can do for you. I have the price list for 2024 and I want to change it to 2025. I will first double click on cell A1 and change the price list 2024 to 2025. Again, you should not be concerned with how I edit the cells. This will be covered in a future lesson. Then I will go also change the prices. I will double click on cell B3 and change the value to 5.2 and press enter here on the keyboard. I will now go to cell B4 where I will type the value 5.8 and press enter. In cell B5 I will type the value 7.2 and I will press enter again. And finally, in cell B6, I will type the value 1.8 and I will press enter again. Now I have made the changes I wanted, but if I save the file in one of the ways I showed you before, I will save those changes to the price list 2024 file, overwriting the previous values. What I want is to keep the price list 2024 file intact so that I have the history, a record of what the price list was in 2024, and I want to create a new workbook that has the price list for 2025 in it. In this case, I should not click Save like I did before because the old file will be updated. What I'm going to do is click on the File tab and click on the Save As option. As you can see, by pressing Save As, even though this file is already saved, it will ask me again and give me the possibility to choose the folder and the name I want to give to my file. So the difference between the save and the save as features is that the save as feature will ask me every time where I want to save the file and what name I want to save it under. On the other hand, if I click on the simple save button, it will ask me only the first time. Every other time after that, it will just update the existing file. To complete the Save As feature, I will click on the Browse button. As you can see, it's showing me the last folder that I used to save to. That's the folder that I want to save to, so I'm going to leave it as it is. But first, I'm going to change the file name. I will click on the file name field, and I will change the year to 2025. And now we'll click on the Save button. What I have achieved here is that the original price list 2024 remains intact and a new workbook is created called price list 2025. Let's check it. I will go to the File tab. I will click Open and then Browse. I will double click on the price list 2024 to open it. As you can see, the prices here are as they were before. Now I'm going to navigate to the price list 2025 from the taskbar. Here you can see the changed prices. So what you saw in this lesson was the process of the save and the save as features. When you create a new workbook, the first time you try to save it, it is the same process either by pressing save or save as, because you have to name the file and choose the folder to save it to. That's why when I pressed the save button at the beginning of this lesson, the first time I tried to save the file, it automatically went to the save as option, if you remember. After you save your file for the first time, what you usually want is to update the file with the changes you make, so you just click on the save button, or even better, you use the Ctrl S combination on the keyboard. Remember that it is important to do this process often so that you don't lose your work. If you want to keep the file as it is and save your work under a different name or in a different folder, then you should use the Save As option. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching.